I like how today my outfit is giving like autumn Christian girl, and I'm gonna be reading Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. I wanted to wear a dress today because I hurt my leg really bad at work the other day, and it hurts so bad, but there's no bruise yet that's like visible, and I just feel like I'm being gaslit. So I'm just like watching for the bruise to appear because like it's gonna be a doozy when it shows up. I know it will, but that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about this novella. This is a relatively recent release. It came out in October of 2021. I'm filming this now in March of 2022. I wanted to read this book earlier, but I had a really hard time getting my hands on it because there was one copy at the library and the person that had it in their possession was not giving it up. It had been months of them just like holding this book in an iron grip. Now, I had been wanting to read this book for quite some time. I can't remember exactly when it came onto my radar, but long before its actual release date. I saw this cover, which, you know, some people love it, some people hate it. I was like, give that to me now. And then when I actually read the synopsis of it, I was like, it's all over for me. I need to read this book. I need it in my life. I'll go ahead and read you the synopsis now just so you know like where my headspace was at months and months and months ago when I added this to my TBR. It says it's a gorgeously creepy haunted house tale steeped in Japanese folklore. And we're looking at a mansion that stands abandoned, its foundations resting on the bones of a bride and its walls packed with the remains of the girl's sacrifice to keep her company. It's the perfect venue for a group of thrill-seeking friends brought back together to celebrate a wedding. A night of food, drinks, and games quickly spirals into a nightmare as secrets get dragged out and relationships are tested. But the house has secrets too. Lurking in the shadows is the ghost bride with a black smile and a hungry heart, and she gets lonely down there in the dirt. Like, I needed this book in my life. And I will say, in those early months before the release date, there were a couple of like early reviews for the book, and they weren't fantastic. Like, I think it had like a 3.7 something, which that's not a great average rating for like pre-release date. Usually before the release date, the average rating is still very, very high, but I never would have anticipated the steep decline that this book experienced as soon as it actually hit the shelves. It is currently the lowest rated book on my TBR. Last time I checked, it was at like a 2.9 something, but I'm pretty sure it has dropped even further because it was a while ago when I checked, and every time I have looked at this book, it has been lower than the last time I looked. On top of that, a lot of booktubers that I tend to agree with have, you know, also rated it 1 star, absolutely hated it. And if this was a longer book, I maybe would have seen that and kind of been like, maybe not. But because it's a novella, I feel like I just have to see this through for myself and see what's going on here. Some things that I have heard about this book that I am pretty sure are lowering the rating for a lot of people. I've heard the characters are absolutely disgusting. I've heard that they're super obscene and stupid, but I also don't think we're necessarily supposed to like them, so I don't know if that's actually going to have much of an impact on my enjoyment of the story, because I'm going into this like, I don't care about this stupid wedding party. Like, they're dumb for showing up and having a wedding here. They can irritate me and die. That's okay. I also think that this is relatively sexually graphic, which makes my outfit even funnier. Kind of been getting that vibe from a couple of reviewers that said this was gratuitous and gross and over the top. And I am anticipating that I will end up hate reading this book, which is unfortunate because I have been so excited for it for such a long time. But I feel like I should say now what I am wanting from this book, like why I wanted to read it in the first place. And for me, it's all about the vibes. Like, bad rating or not, this here, that's some vibes. That is some vibes. I know not everybody likes this cover. I know a lot of people hate this cover, but like, these are some vibes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read this whole book today. I'm incredibly behind in my reading this month. I have been in quite the reading slump. So like, I guess I'm in a good headspace to hate read already. Like, nothing can hurt me now. All the books that I've been reading lately have been so meh that I'm interested to see if it is as bad as people say. And let's go ahead and just get right into it. Gonna go ahead and give an update with every chapter. I'm not gonna just be sitting in this chair the whole time, I promise, but finished the first chapter. It's 34 pages long, and as much as I can see where the problems exist, I'm not mad yet. The writing is incredibly pretentious, but I'm okay with it. Like, obviously I could not handle it for a longer book, but I think that in this context it works. Like, let me try and see if I can find like a sentence to read to you, because it is quite something. Here's one. That Philip could finance its desecration, lock, stock, no question, and do so without self-reproach was symptomatic of our fundamental differences. Like, we're talking like that for kind of no reason. And honestly, I'm not furious. Like, a sentence like that is kind of irritating, but a lot of the other times when, like, that sort of language is being used, it's trying to describe the setting. And, like, honestly, I have kind of a good time with purple prose in that specific context. Like, if we're describing something creepy, let the prose be purple. Are the characters obnoxious? Absolutely. One issue I am kind of having is the fact that we have a very interesting web of relationships here. Like, we're here for an engaged couple, but then we keep finding out that, like, there was a relationship here, there was a relationship here, and, like, this person's mad at this person because at one point they were dating this person, and, like, they're not really explaining it, they're just, like, talking about it one-on-one, so I'm trying to, like, piece that together. It is kind of giving, like, well, why are you all even friends then? Like, if this is such a thing. Like, it just seems like there's a lot of, like, things in their relationship, and it's just a little bit exhausting. But, like, once again, I don't really care to like people in a novella. I don't need to like them. I'm not going to be in their presence for very long. I'm so far totally okay with this book. In fact, I am thinking that it's not that bad. So a positive start to Nothing But Blackened Teeth. I'm going to go ahead and take a break and clean my room because that was like a big thing on my to-do list today. And then we'll hop back in for chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2 done. It's hard to say whether the writing is getting more a lot or if I've just shifted headspaces, but the writing is being a lot. Also, on top of that, I mentioned my concerns with the amount of just, like, relationship angst that's going on in this book and, like, how it's kind of confusing because it seems like everybody is having relationship angst with everybody. And we just brought in another person who the main character, like, had a thing with, and then when it went wrong, she had to be, like, hospitalized. So, like, we got even more of that. So it's a lot. And that was chapter 2. What is going on? 55% of the way in. Time for an update. It was a minor gripe that I had in the beginning that there were just, like, so many different relationship things going on. But it's manifesting into a, like, genuine flaw that this book has that I think is going to kind of ruin the entire experience. This book is acting like we already know, like, the tea. They're acting like I already know all of these characters. They're acting like I already just, like, feel the tension. And, like, I don't. I'm confused. I don't know what, like, there are so many different conversations that keep happening. I'm in them and I'm just like, are we gonna get, like, any context for this, or are we just gonna, like, keep pretending like I know who these people are? I don't. I've been reading for 70 pages. Like, that's not enough. I'm not even mad at the fact that there's, like, some juicy stuff going on. Like, that's not the issue. It's that it's like they don't know which one they want to tell me about. Like, for one scene, there's beef between, like, the main character and, like, the fiance. For another scene, there's beef between the main character and this other guy. For another scene, there's beef between the other fiance and the one guy. Like, there's beef between everybody. And I don't understand any of it. Like, every scene that we have with the characters is written as if it's supposed to carry all of this weight. And I'm like, I've missed all of this. I'm confused, and it's taking so much away from, like, the actual spooky scary at this point. Because, like, at this point, we have a little bit of spooky scary. Like, one of the characters just, like, ran down this one hall through, like, a door that apparently didn't exist before. According to the main character, it didn't exist before, but now everybody's like, oh, you're just drunk. And anyway, that's happening. But between the writing and then, like, this bizarre web of character relationships, I just don't really know how to feel. I'll read you the line that the chapter ends on. It says, I got up, Lynn bellowing protests, and staggered after the clack of sandals on wood, half blind as I followed my Dantes into damnation. It's like, you're doing too much. You're doing way too much. I only have, like, an hour until I have to leave for work, so I need to, like, kind of speed read through the rest of it, so I don't know if I will update for every chapter at this point, but I will try and somewhat track the descent of my opinion towards this book, because I can already feel it slipping, which is unfortunate, but not exactly unexpected. I know I said I wasn't going to be updating constantly, but one page after the last update, this is what I mean. Main girl is currently running after the like friends that went and like they're going somewhere. They said that they wanted to like show them something, and then main girl was like, absolutely not, I'm not going down there. But then they went down there, so now she's running after them because she's concerned. And Lynn, who is the guy that she was with at one point, and when they broke up, she had to, you know, go to a psych ward, I'm pretty sure. He is like trying to be like, no. And he's like telling her like, no, we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna do this. And then here's where I'm at now. She just whips around and is like, they were there for me when you weren't. I blotted tears from my eyes, slowing, thought for a moment on the value of pointing out what had happened as the world smeared into a sodium haze. Somehow, Lynn had taken no notice of the spatial weirdness, so I said nothing. They kept me going. They got me to come out of the house. They made me feel normal. Well, if you'd just called me, you didn't even tell me you were getting married. The words melted together, no syllabic definition, just sound, awkward and delicate. You have no idea how much that part bugged me. Bugged. What a word to lay emphasis on. Lynn winced like he'd been slapped, staggering to a stop, fingers spasming. A slight tug on my collar, as though that would be enough to rewind everything, replace it with something better. Rewind what? This book is only 100, and this book is 120 pages long. We don't have time to unpack all of that. Just get to the ghosty stuff. None of these relationship dynamics make any sense. My roommate brought home macadamia milk, and she let me use some in my tea. It's quite nice. Why did we do that? One of the characters just decked another one for no conceivable reason. Just popping in real quick to talk about a thing I've noticed with this book. Just a weird little thing. They're obsessed with talking about what people's tongues are doing within their mouths. For example, this is, I swear, the probably 10th time this has happened in a 100-page book. Something similar to this. Philip laved his tongue over his mouth, licking the sweat from his upper lip, and tried to smile even though it made him look like a goldfish drowning on dry air. At least with that sentence, there was other stuff going on. The amount of times that it's just they're probing a tooth, they're swiping their tongue over the roof of their mouth, they're sticking it into the corner of their mouth like Clayton on The Bachelor. I don't know. It's constant. And I don't know what the obsession is. I get that Nothing But Blackened Teeth is in the title, so maybe it's a reference to the black teeth, but it's too much. It's too much. Spoilers. So if you're gonna read this book and you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch. One fiance is missing in the house, and we're pretty sure she's getting buried in the house, and that's bad because she'll die. And the other fiance is I'm gonna do whatever I need to save her. And this is what he's currently saying, because they found out that they may need to cut out an organ to save her. So he's saying, life doesn't have any meaning without her anyway. I don't want to go on in a world without her. I'll do it. I'll cut out my heart. I slapped him. What the fuck? It was a good slap. More of an open palm hook, his jaw crunching where the joint met the heel of my hand. The blow rattled through both of us so hard it made me bite my tongue. Blood dripped warm down the eave of my scowl, dotting the now rotten tatami with red. A breeze billowed past us, a stench too. Cardamom and mildew and menstrual flow. Where did that come from? So I already filmed a final go-through for my thoughts on this book, but I did it right before I had to leave for work, and I wasn't super coherent, so now, post a very fun shift, let's get into my final thoughts on this novella. When I made the decision to make this vlog, or really just to read this book at all, it wasn't necessarily my intention to go in being ooh, people say it's bad, so let's trash on it. I did genuinely want to think about it, why is this getting a bad rating? Is it just that it's not for everybody, or is it objectively bad? And I think that there is a mix of both. I think the writing style is very subjective, and it's gonna work for some people, it's not gonna work for others. Parts of it worked for me, parts of it also really did not. I feel in terms of establishing setting in the beginning, the writing style worked. It was pretentious and annoying from the get-go, but in a way it almost aided in the story just because it was very atmospheric despite being very pretentious and annoying. Cassandra Khaw has quite the vocabulary, and she wants to use every inch of it. And it got progressively more obnoxious for me just because we were getting into action, and then we were still stuck in that writing style, and it just felt really forced and weird. But moving into like, is this book just good or bad? I mean, obviously that's never a straightforward question to answer, but I'm gonna go ahead and answer it. Yes, this book is bad. The relationships in this book don't make sense. The characterization does not make sense. We're handed all of these characters and then given like the implications of just some wild history with these individuals. And then as we go through the book, it's like we're just supposed to know these people's dynamic. And you could say like, well, it's a novella, so like they didn't have time to really delve into that. With it being a novella, they shouldn't have presented us with such a weird dynamic to begin with. Like if they knew they didn't have the time to actually make it make sense, they should have just not done it. And possibly the biggest letdown of all is when we start getting into that, where so much of like the end of the book is this conflict between these friends. I don't even think they are friends. Like one of them isn't friends with any of them. Like they keep saying like, oh, I'm not actually friends with it. Like I don't even know these people. And then it was weird. Like the conflicts that are happening with them all happen, and this is a spoiler, I'll put a spoiler tag up. They all happen with this gal just like in the room. She's not doing anything. She's just existing. And it's like, we've got this in the room and yet we're gonna start punching and stabbing one another. Like, why is she taking the backseat? She's our cover girl. It didn't make sense. This book is not good. I don't know whether I'm giving it a 1 or a 2 star. I'll leave that for a reading wrap up. You can see my, star rating there. But the average rating checks out. It makes sense. I'm sorry to say it. This is quite the letdown. If anybody has any recommendations for a gorgeously creepy haunted house tale steeped in Japanese folklore, please let me know, because I don't feel like this delivered and I'm still looking for something to fill the brief. Terrifying cover is optional but encouraged. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. My March filming schedule has completely gone out the window because finals hit me like a truck, but I will see you again soon with another video.